one of Stan's buds from the Big Ten Network.
Listen, you got to clear something up, though. The atmosphere is good in the stadium, but the city itself, it's not a place you want to live unless you're Spice Adams.
Spice Adams joins us right now from the Big Ten Network. I imagine you want a few minutes for rebuttal there, Spice, on Stan's comment about State College, Pennsylvania.
You know what, Stan? You know, when you're scared, you see a lot of difference. You know?
But listen,
you can't really pay too much attention to it because it's Stan, first of all.
There you go.
Listen, I will give the Happy Valley a little credit. Their ice cream shop is second to none. But after that,
man, it's unbelievable.
And Spice videos, second to none. But after Spice videos and ice cream, there's nothing you want to do. Once the football game is over, you're looking to get out of Dodge as quick as possible.
Hey,
man, cut it out.
Yeah. Spice, let me ask you, as you sit there from a Penn State perspective, I know it's only September 29th, but do you look at this as a must-win game for Penn State in terms of, you know, getting into the college football playoff, Big Ten championship, all those kind of things? Just how big, from Penn State's point of view, is this game Saturday night?
This is one of the biggest games ever. You have to beat this team. You have to beat Ohio State because everybody's talking about them, and rightfully so. I mean, their offense is super explosive. Haskins is throwing it everywhere, and they're on the roll right now. They got J.K. Dobbins, Mike Weber. They got a lot of weapons. And I think their defense is they're going to be ready to play. Coach Johnson is going to have them geared up. He used to coach there at Penn State, so he knows about the atmosphere, and then they know about when they lost on the field goal. So I mean, the place is going to be rocking, but it's a lot of the guys on the Ohio State side. They've played there before, so I think they're going to be up for the challenge. It's going to be a good game. I can't wait to see it.
So we're talking to Anthony Spice Adams, former defensive lineman for Penn State, the Chicago Bears as well, plus extraordinaire on YouTube. I get a chance to work with him at the Big Ten Network. So talk to me about the defensive line right now at Penn State. It seems like they're having trouble stopping a run, even though they put a lot of points up on Illinois and beat them soundly. Illinois ran for over 200 yards. What's going on there?
Yeah, I know, man. That's one of the things I'm talking about on the show. I think they have to tighten up. Illinois very well could have won that game. I know you look at the score and you think otherwise, but Penn State had to come back to win that game. And so they got to tighten up, man. And it starts up front, of course. Kevin Givens, Reese Miller, Shaka Toney coming, being the fifth man in the rotation. They have to earn the right to rush the passer. And you do that by stopping the run. And you do that with fundamentals. Do that using your hands, locking out, shedding blocks, and not guessing. There should be no gray area. All you have to do is read your keys. They'll take you to the ball every time. So if the guys can just hang on to their fundamentals, they'll never be wrong. But you're right, they do have to stop the run because that's going to be a problem, especially with somebody like J.K. Dobbins or Mike Weber. I think they're one of the best tandems in all of college football. So they got to buckle up their chest straps for this one.
Visiting with Anthony Spice Adams of the Big Ten Network, former defensive lineman for Penn State and also with the Chicago Bears and years in the NFL. Spice, when you look at the challenge, you're talking about having to stop Ohio State's run, but then you have this kid, Dwayne Haskins, that's doing what he's doing. Stan and I have talked about it, like how would you defend this Ohio State offense? And so far, not many teams. TCU did a little in the first half. Put some pressure on Dwayne Haskins, but he's had a lot of time. I'm just wondering, from a Penn State perspective, do you run blitzes at him? It seems like you've got to try to get him out of rhythm. How would you go about trying to do that Saturday night if you're Penn State?
Well, you have to get in his face. You have to get your hands up, and you have to rush smart. I think by doing that, you all have to work together. There can't be any heroes. You can't have a defensive end knifing on the inside and then losing contain. You have to play fundamentally sound, and to do that, you just have to bottle up quarterbacks and force them to do things that they don't want to do. Force them to make a quick throw. Mix up the blitzes. disguise all of your pressures. And, I think they can be successful, but they can't make any mistakes. And that's hard to do against this great Ohio State team because, Dwayne Haskins is like a very polished Stanley Jackson.
Yeah.
Like when you think of Stanley Jackson, the first name that pops up is not Dwayne Haskins because he's, 10 times better. I mean, he's very polished, man. A lot smarter.
Listen, that's probably the first thing in 3 years being around you that you said that I could agree with. You're right. The kid is special. He can flat out play.
Yeah.
So let's jump to the other side of the ball. I mean, look, there's no question offensively how explosive Penn State has been this year. But the reality is they've lost a lot of really key players. So can Miles Sanders and the new guys continue this run of explosive offense? By the way, get your kids under control. What's going on in the background?
Man, you know how it is, man. I got 4 kids, man. You tell them to be quiet. That means go crazy.
So can Miles and the guys continue the hot run?
They lost Saquon Barkley, Deshaun Hamilton, Gesicki, but they still got guys that are capable of putting up 35 points in the fourth quarter. Like, you never know with this offense. They can explode at any time. I mean, Trace McSorley, his experience is going to pay off. He's played in the Big Show before. So, I mean, to me, it still looks like the same Penn State offense, just without, Saquon. And I think Miles Sanders has had his coming out party, 200 yards rushing on Friday. So, I think with him and Slade, I think they're going to do a running back by committee type deal. And we'll see, man. We'll see. I'm excited to see, man, because I think both of these teams, they mirror each other pretty good. So I can't wait to see, man. It's going to be a shootout.
So big picture, is Trace McSorley the best quarterback in the history of Penn State football?
In the history?
Yeah. Or where does he stack up?
Oh, no, he's up there. I mean, when you look at the numbers, and you have to. I mean, he has, 30-something consecutive games with the touchdown?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's undeniable, man, when you look at his stats. But back in the day, we weren't running this type of offense.
Yeah.
Gary Collins wasn't running this. They were handing the ball off 40 times a game.
Yeah.
And then maybe running the play action here and there. So, but I'm not taking anything away from Trace. He's only doing what he's told.
Yeah.
But I think he's a great quarterback for sure. But as far as what he ranks, I don't know, man. It's kind of skewed.
Last thing for Spice Adams, former Penn State defensive lineman of the Big Ten Network. From Ohio State's perspective, they go into this game with a guy that plays on the Ohio State defensive line without Nick Bosa, with the injury that affected him. I'm wondering, Penn State offensively. Now, I know Ohio State's got other good defensive linemen. It's still one of their strongest units. You mentioned Larry Johnson. He does a great job. But Nick Bosa is Nick Bosa. Does it open up things that can Penn State offensively, does it help the game plan? Can they do some things?
Oh, no question.
Can they do some things without Nick Bosa there that they ordinarily would not be able to do?
If I'm an Ohio State fan, I know without a shadow of a doubt that Coach Larry Johnson is going to fill that void. It's going to be hard, but if anybody can do it, it's him. I mean, you can look at his track record. What I'm going to be looking at is guys on inside. I like Robert Landers. I'm 67. The only thing I have against Robert Landers is that he wears a sweet rag. You can't be over 250 pounds and you have a sweet rag. Like, that's a violation.
Again, that's another thing I agree with you, Spice. I totally agree.
That's my only knock against him. But you don't worry about Ohio State's defensive line at all. I mean, even though they don't have Bosa, which arguably he could be one of the top players in all of college football in like every position. But you don't worry about their defensive line because Coach Larry Johnson is like a head coach out there on the field. So he's going to have those boys ready. He's going to have them ready. Trust and believe.
By the way, Spice, I'm going to find the smallest Ohio State T-shirt I can find for you to wear next week on the show.
You you're not gonna have to worry about it. You're not gonna have to worry about it.
Very good. Hey, Spice, enjoy the game. Always love having you on. Appreciate it very much, and thanks for putting up with Stan on the Big Ten Network.
He's gonna disappear next week.
More importantly, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you.